The next model we're going to look at is simulation of inventory analysis. Now this one is a little more complex, so we have to work through this patiently. This is what is called a perpetual inventory system, where we monitor the inventory on a constant basis, and when our inventory position, the inventory position is what is available on hand plus any outstanding orders that are not yet delivered. Okay, if that quantity reaches a reorder point, okay, then we place an order for a fixed quantity, order quantity. So this comes from our inventory chapter where you have UOQ and the reorder point. So we'll need to monitor the inventory position. It's not just inventory available on hand, but if there is any order already placed that's outstanding, and that should be included as well in the comparison between the what's available and the reorder point. Yeah. Now, in the inventory chapter, we assume that these things would be deterministic, and if not, we used reorder point using normal distribution. But here, we're going to simulate and try, and when we simulate, then we get to use several possible alternative values for the decisions. So how much to order and when to order. Yeah. So here is the example. So we have a hardware store. Okay, and the controllable inputs are order quantity and reorder point. So we get to choose that, and we'll try various alternative values for these two variables. The uncontrollable inputs are the daily demand. Okay, how much is the customer demand for this product? Okay, and then when we place the order, okay, the lead time may not be constant. It may have some variability there. So some orders may come in within a day or 2 days or 3 days. So which means that we need probability distributions for these two variables, order daily demand and variable lead time. And for order quantity and reorder point, we will use alternative decisions and then simulate all of those decisions and select the one that meets our requirements best in terms of not losing any customer demand because we ran out of stock or some cost basis, ordering cost, holding cost, and so on. So let's look at some more parameters. So here is the demand from the last 300 days. So from the demand distribution and from the demand frequencies, now we can compute the probability and cumulative probability like we have done previously. And the same here for the past 50 orders, we look at the lead times, and the lead times turned out to be either 1, 2, or 3. And from the frequencies, we compute the probability, and then we can compute the cumulative probability like we have done in the past. Now, in either of these two cases, the probabilities could be some defined distribution, like Poisson distribution or binomial distribution, or in terms of time, it could be exponential distribution or normal distribution. And we have already seen how to generate random numbers using those distributions previously. And here I just want to point out that it could be any one of those, and you should be able to simulate those random numbers. So the next step is to look at the flow chart or flow diagram of the process, if that would be helpful. And then we need to set up the model and run the simulation. So here is the flow chart of how the process will work. So begin first day of simulation. Has the order arrived? Okay, no. And so you generate a demand and you meet the demand and see whether we have reached the reorder point. If you've reached the reorder point, place an order. Otherwise, don't place an order and move on to the next day. So this, generally speaking, that's our flow chart. Okay, so now we're going to set up the model. So we need to head on over to Excel. And before that, let's see whether there is, okay, here are the costs given. Okay, the Simpkins store is open 200 days a year, and the estimated cost $10 per order. Holding cost is $6, and stock out cost, meaning that if you run out of stock and you still have orders, then it's going to cost you $8. So these are the cost parameters that we need to use to evaluate alternative decisions in terms of order quantity and the reorder point. Okay, so we're going to the textbook uses the random numbers from random number table that we will set it up in Excel so that it can be automated and replicated hundreds or even thousands of times.